It's Friday, December 7th, 2012, and let's talk about what happened this week at xdadevelopers.com. First up, ROM and device update news. The Galaxy Note 2 is a relatively new device, hasn't been out terribly long. There's been a bit of frustration about it in the developer community simply because it has the Exynos processor. However, with that said, it now has an unofficial port of CyanogenMod 10 to it. At least the AT&T variety does. Not sure about anything more than that because the AT&T one is the one that made the front page of the site, so that's the one I'm talking about. This port was done by XDA senior member Mad Mac, and it seems like a lot of stuff is working on it at this point. Specifically, he mentions radio, audio, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS, but he says the stylus doesn't work, so that's kind of interesting. I haven't actually had a chance to get my hands on the Note 2 yet, but if I remember correctly, I think the stylus it's powered somehow, isn't it? Maybe I'm wrong there. Either way, so far it seems very encouraging. Hopefully we will see more ports for more devices, at least more of the Galaxy Note 2 devices in the very near future, if there aren't already. Haven't had the time to go look, to be entirely honest. But we move on. Speaking of devices getting unofficial versions of CyanogenMod 10, XDA recognized developer Bruce2728 has been hard at work making his way to get CyanogenMod 10.1 ported to the HTC Sensation. And specifically, this is CM 10.1 based on Android version 4.2.1, so it is the newest new stuff you can get. However, with that said, not everything's working. Actually, like I said, it's alpha, so not a lot is working at this point. But it says here you do have the SD card, display, radio, and Wi-Fi working, but the camera, Bluetooth, and audio do not. So that could be a bit of a deal breaker for a lot of people. However, one way or another, it is a first step, and every journey does begin with that first step. Sorry, I've got The Hobbit on the brain. I'm going to see that in a couple of days. And sticking on the topic of unofficial versions of CyanogenMod 10.1, XDA recognized developer Quarks has managed to get CM 10.1 unofficially running on the Motorola Defy and Defy Plus. Again, very much an early alpha build, very limited functionality, but you should be able to boot it up. You should be able to do some very limited moving around in the OS. There are some issues with wireless and the SD card and camera and all of the other things that you're probably going to want to use on a day-to-day basis, so it's definitely not daily driver worthy. Check the forum, read the forum thread, and see how it's going to work for you. Maybe see if you can help out if you're interested. This is XDA developers, after all. And that's enough of unofficial ports for now. I've mentioned a few times in the past that there were leaks available for the international version of the Galaxy S3 in terms of Jelly Bean, but we didn't actually ever see it officially come out. 4.1 didn't really ever show up. Until now. XDA recognized developer Faryab has shared with us the information from Sam Mobile saying that this official version Android 4.1.2 is available for this international Galaxy S3. And just to list off a couple of things that are new and changed in this, you have multi-view, that's the multi-window multitasking thing, which is amazing and came with the Galaxy Note 2 first off. You've got customizable notification panels, so that's actually kind of nice and useful and not normal to see. Smart rotation, continuous input on the keyboard like the Android 4.2 keyboard has. New apps. Yep, new stuff. Android 4.1.2. If you have the international Galaxy S3, jump on it. This one appears to be Odin flashable, so if you're on Mac or Linux, you are probably out of luck for the time being, unfortunately. But one way or another, do make sure to, again, read the forum thread. Just read the forum threads. Just a few minutes ago, I did mention the Galaxy Note 2. It made the news as well this week, thanks to XDA senior member DroidStyle and a couple of other names that I can't remember off the top of my head. They've shared a method for rooting the Verizon version of the Galaxy Note 2, which actually doesn't require any sort of exploits, just downloading an Odin file, flashing it over, and you're rooted. So if you have the Verizon Galaxy Note 2, and honestly, I cannot wait to get my hands on one. I'm not going to buy it, but I'm going to get my hands on it to test for a little while. If you have one, you should be able to root it now pretty painlessly. And actually, this next story, I just had to talk about it because it is just, it's awesome. It's something I've been hoping to see for a while, kind of. XDA forum member WChill has developed a method to take a rooted Android device, plug something into it using USB on the go, plug in an adapter, and then using USB out to another Android device, root that device. This is sort of similar to what Adam did at the Android barbecue a little while back, where he had his Raspberry Pi that he could hook up to just about whatever device and have it automatically root. But this is an app that runs on your Android device. You plug into another Android device when you're away from your desktop or something. You have to root somebody's device and you're not at a desktop or a laptop. Just plug it in, hit the button, a couple of minutes later you're rooted. Now the dev has said that it's pretty unstable, it's not quite ready yet, and unless you can be rooted through ADB, it's not going to work with this. But if you have something that can be exploited through ADB, this is one way to go about doing it. And honestly, To be able to walk up to your friend who has an Android device and they're wanting to root it and say, oh yeah, I can do that, whip out your phone, hook your little on-the-go cable up and root it for them, that's very cool. And really, the possibilities of this for like rooting in public places becomes a whole lot more interesting. I'm not going to advocate anything here. Do not do what I'm about to say. But walking into a place like a carrier store or Walmart or wherever it is that they have live devices on display, and just plugging into each one and rooting them all, it's just something I think would be kind of amusing. But like I said, don't do that. You will get in trouble. You'll probably get arrested for it. But anyway, moving on before I get you in trouble. Last story I thought I would cover very quickly. Google Now has been updated in the Play Store. If you have it, go ahead and make sure to update it, specifically for Android 4.1 and above. They have added a boatload of new cards, including nearby events, which I actually haven't even looked at yet. I'm on Android 4.2, I think it's 4.2.1 actually on the Nexus 7 now, and I haven't looked at it yet. Research suggestions, boarding passes from Gmail, United only, more to come. Yeah. Search by camera. Now that search by camera was a very cool thing. I saw some demonstrations of that online earlier, and essentially you pull it up and you say, what am I looking at? Or what is this? Or camera or something like that. And then you can point your camera at whatever it is you want to look at, and it will search Google to see if it finds anything that matches. So if you have a device you're looking at, or like a FedEx box, or I happen to see a FedEx package over there, or I saw somebody, it was a Marquez, pointed it at a box of Cheerios, and it pulled up all the information on that from the web. Still very early, it doesn't work 100%. I tried it a little bit at work and didn't have much luck with it, but it's definitely well on its way, and it's something else to try. Let's see, what else do we have here? Weather for upcoming travel destinations, monthly summaries of walking and biking. Actually, I think we had that a little while back. That might not be new. Post to Google+, that's very cool. What's this song, and scan this barcode. So it's sort of working to integrate other things from the device all into one place, and honestly kind of feels like it's becoming a replacement for some other apps. You've got a barcode reader, you've got a sound analyzer like what's the app called, Shazam. So I mean, really, they're making Google Now more from a traditional search engine to a search everything engine, and that's kind of nice and kind of terrifying at the same time. One way or another, if you have a device that has Google Now on it, go ahead and make sure to update it. It's called Google Search in the Play Store, I think, so get the update for that and see all of the cool new stuff and the new stuff that Google is learning about you. And finally, if you have not seen them already, 3 other videos were released on XDA Developer TV this week. The first video demonstrates several of the ways to root the Samsung Galaxy S3, very useful info there. In the second one, Benjamin Dobell, the creator of Heimdall, showed us what Heimdall was and how to use it. And actually, I think I'm saying Heimdall wrong there. He says it differently, and I can't remember how he said it off the top of my head. Either way, very useful utility. Definitely worth taking a look at the video and just learning a little bit more about it. And as always, TK put out an app review talking about Naked Browser. Yes, he is wearing pants. Do not be concerned. Moving right along. Actually, I guess we're not moving along. That's all I've got for you today. However, as a simple reminder, if you haven't done so already, make sure to go over to the XDA site, and I think we have a short link for it. If I do, I'll put it down in the video description, to share with us your favorite stories from the year 2012, both on XDA Developer TV and over on xdadevelopers.com. But like I said, that's all from me for today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on Monday.